Hello, welcome or welcome back to the Yarn and Yarns YouTube channel. My name is Angela and all the places you can find me should be linked in the description box below this video. Here on the channel you'll find me chatting about my adventures in knitting, spinning, crochet and weaving, all of the fibre related things. Welcome to today's video. It's my March making plans video. If you happen to be new to the channel, or even if you've been around for a couple of months, you may not be aware that I do these making plans. I think it's been since November that I did my last one. In December we had Vlogmas. In January and spilling over into February I had lots of 12 cast on videos going on, so this is the first opportunity that I'm having in 2025 to make one of these. So just as a quick explanation, I'm someone who likes to have lots of works in progress humming along in the background and sometimes I get a bit of decision fatigue and I can procrastinate over what I'm going to work on. So in order to try and combat that a little bit, at the beginning of each month I employ a little bit of a fun game of chance to help me focus on a few projects to concentrate on that month. I have a set of cards which I add some prompts to, and then I've got a multi-sided die and I roll the dice 4 times to pick some prompts and focus in on a few projects. We'll get into that more later in the video. This is going to be a little bit of a longer video today because in the past I've had folks ask if I could share all of the prompts that I use on my cards, and as we're going into a new year, well we're way past the new year, but as we're going into a new making plans year for me I thought it'd be time to renew and refresh my prompts, so I will share with you what is going on to all of the cards later. But before we do that, I've got 2 other elements that I'm adding to the video. One is something that we've done before and one is something that is new. So the first one is my community pick. So for the past couple of years I have been asking the lovely folks who watch these videos if they would be interested in picking a project for me, and everyone who said that they would has gone onto my little wheel of chance, spin the wheel at the beginning of each month, and one name gets picked and that person has the opportunity to choose something for me to work on in the coming weeks. That person is more than welcome to pick something either from my works in progress, which there is a lot of at the moment having just come off the back of the 12 cast-ons, or they can choose for me to cast on something entirely new. Maybe it's a pattern that they've been curious about, maybe it's their favourite pattern and so they want to see me knit it, or crochet it, or weave it, or spin it. Anything goes. I am most willing to purchase patterns or yarn if someone does want to choose something new and I haven't got stuff in my stash that would cover whatever they pick. We'll do that in a second. And then second, for this year I have also started myself another random picker. I have been adding stuff to that wheel, some long-term projects that aren't necessarily knitting or crochet. Some of them might be, but I've got some embroidery on there, I've got some needle felting on there, I've got some sewing on there. I've also added a few craft kits. There's at least one knitting kit on there as well that I've purchased in the past and just haven't got around to, and I'm sure I will be adding more to that as I rediscover more things that are tucked away in drawers and cupboards that I've kind of forgotten about. So I'm going to be adding that to my monthly making plans this year as well. Clear as mud. Hopefully things will become a bit clearer as we go through the video. I'll try and put some timestamps on this video in case you want to skip over anything. If you're not interested in all of the prompts, if you just want to see what prompts pop up for this month, then yeah, I'll try and make it sort of obvious in the timestamps in the video. Right, anyway, let's get to spin the wheel to see who is the willing victim to choose a project for me to work on in March. So it will be Kelly. I'm going to get in touch with Kelly and I'll give Kelly a few days to come back to me, and hopefully she'll pick something fun for me to work on this month. And of course, once Kelly comes back to me and lets me know what that is, I shall hop back on and let you know, and then we can roll the rest of the prompts for this month. In the meantime, I'm going to also spin my other wheel, which I'm just calling UFO, Unfinished Objects at the moment, because these projects aren't related to my knitting queue as such, my Ravelry projects. We're going to pick something from the wheel and see what UFO I shall be working on in March too. Okay, so that is Feminist Cross Stitch. That project is actually downstairs at the moment, so I need to nip down and get that, and I'll explain a little bit more about that project in just a second. I think I've often mentioned on the channel that I have a day job, so I work part-time outside of the house, and then I have one day a week where I can concentrate on my YarnNYarns website and also do all of the fun video stuff that is associated with this channel. But I don't know that I've ever mentioned that my day job is for a local charity who supports women who are victims of abuse. At our offices we have various artworks and things on the wall, including some sort of feminist empowerment, women supporting women kind of artwork. And I was chatting to our engagement manager, and they know obviously at work that I'm a very crafty person, that I used to have a shop and I run my own website. We were just chatting one day and I asked her if she would like some kind of piece of craft related art for one of the office walls, and she said she would love that. So I had this book in my book library. I think I purchased it second hand, it was only a few pounds, and it's called Feminist Cross Stitch. So I actually started working last year on one of our many trips up north where we were supporting family. I started working on this cross stitch, and I've got a whole bunch of cross stitch or embroidery flosses, threads, however you like to refer to them, both from when I used to do a lot more cross stitch, but also many of you will know that my dear mum, who passed away almost 20 years ago now, was an avid cross stitcher, and I've got a lot of her cross stitch unfinished objects and also a lot of her cross stitch supplies. So I've got a ton of fabric and embroidery thread and I barely use it. So yeah, last year I started this. Woman's place is in the Revolution. So I've done all the lettering and I now need to work on the floral border. There are suggestions in here, I think, for various DMC threads, I think. I'm not sure, I could be Anchor, I don't know. I haven't really paid any attention. I have just nestled in my book, picked out a bunch of embroidery threads from my boxes that roughly correspond to the colours in the original design. Many of us are multi-craft dual, aren't we? So I'm sure many of you have dabbled in embroidery or cross stitch before, and it takes a long time to even make a little bit of progress on a bit of cross stitch. So I'm not sure if I will finish it in March, but I'm definitely going to make some progress. So yeah, it should be a fun little distraction from all of the knitting and spinning and crochet that I do. I do tend to have to work on cross stitch in the daytime at the moment because it's still very much wintry around here. We have sort of long dark evenings still, although it's getting lighter in the evening. So weekends tend to be when I do stitching, if I do any. So that kind of limits the amount of time that I work on that project as well. See how far we get in March. So I won't be doing my dice rolls for the month for another few days. Hopefully Kelly will get back to me sooner rather than later. When I pop downstairs to get my cross stitch project, I also sent Kelly a message. Well, I replied to a comment on YouTube, so hopefully she'll see that fairly soon and come back to me. But in the meantime, I will run through the prompts on my cards. These cards were very kindly made and gifted to me by the lovely Simone. Simone has her own channel, which I shall link below. She does a lot of journaling. She has put up knitting videos in the past, but not for a while. She is very much into fountain pens and inks and creating with those at the moment. But she has lovely snippets from my desk videos, which are lovely little vlogs which involve creative stuff and glimpses from her life as well. So I shall link Simone's channel below if you want to check that out. Now, sadly, last year, the top card, number 1, got a little bit damaged, and that was my fault. I think I spilt a cup of tea on it. It was only the one card. I have plans to kind of decorate this and maybe put some stickers or something like that on the front to make it a little bit more attractive, but I haven't got around to doing that yet, obviously. Anyway, prompts on the back of the cards this year. Some of these are going to be very familiar if you've watched any of these videos before. Some of them went away in 2024 and have come back for 2025, and I've got a couple of new things. So number 1, sock. Number 2, beautiful orange card, and that is finish it. So if that one comes up, the idea will be to try and pick a project that's closest to being finished. Number 3 is weave. I didn't do anywhere near enough weaving last year, so yeah, I'm hoping that that one comes up a few times. Number 4 is YouTube pick, and I hand that one over to you. I usually pick 2 projects from my works in progress that I'm interested in progressing, and hand it over to you to vote in the comments when that one comes up. 5 is sweater. 6 is not for me. I try to keep some of my prompts fairly ambiguous so that they can be open to interpretation to fit my mood, and some of our community members also play along with the prompts as well, so I try to make them broad. So my thinking in not for me is either something that I'm not making for me, obviously that's fairly straightforward interpretation, but I'm also thinking maybe it would be an opportunity to try a technique that I thought wouldn't be for me. So just try something new, something different, or revisit something that in the past I haven't enjoyed and give it another go, because our skills change, our tastes change. So yeah, that's my thinking on that one. Number 7, multicolour. So anything that involves more than one colour. I think I've had colour work prompt on the cards in the past, but I feel like that opens it up, so I can pick something that's striped or mosaic knitting. It doesn't have to be stranded colour work. Number 8 is the opposite to that, so something that is only one colour. Number 9, this is new for this year, Patreon pick. I'll ask my Patreon supporters to pick a project for me if that one comes up. Number 10 is spin. 11 handspun. 12 is crochet. 13 is my favourite, orange. If you followed for a while, and also if you haven't, the wall behind might give a hint that my favourite colour is orange. 14 is dust me off. And the idea will be to pull out an older project or something that's been languishing for a while. 15 before 2025. So anything that I cast on, obviously before 2025, but that also includes any of my 12 cast on projects. So a few of those were cast on in December in 2024, but I won't be including those if that prompt comes up. 16 is the Brenier sweater. So I've got a couple of cards in here which have got very specific projects on, things that have been languishing for a while that I'd love to get back to. And if those come up, then I will, after working on that project for a month, I will switch out the prompt on the back of that for another one of my specific projects. 17 is use your brain. So my thinking on that one would be either something that's got a pattern to it, not mindless knitting, or something that I've maybe put aside because I need to use my brain to figure out what's gone wrong or the next steps, and I've used that as an excuse to put it away and not think about it for a while. Either of those things work, and I'm sure there'll be other interpretations as well. Number 18 is make along. Now last year I had a prompt that was 12 cast on specific, because obviously that's the make along that I run. This year I've got the 12 cast ons going on all year. I've also got the YarnNYarns scrap mail going on, so I could pick projects that fit into either of those, or I could use it as an excuse to join in with someone else's make along. There are so many amazing YouTube channels out there, and lots of them do a lot of good work in creating community and getting people to knit together or crochet together or spin together. So yeah, I could use that as an excuse to jump in and join someone else's make along. I've already embarked on at least one make along, or actually 2 make alongs this year. I'm joining Kelly from YarnNYarns. She's doing the, I think it's called the 12 Cozy Toes sock along, where she is releasing one of her sock patterns every 2 months at a discount, and then you get 2 months to knit a pair of socks. I'm also joining in with Grumpy Sheep and Happy Llama, their Spin the Bin challenge. But I'm not going to say I'm exclusively going to stick to those make-alongs. There might be something new and fun that I spot, or just something that I wanted to join in. That's none of those. 19 is accessory. Last year I had prompts that were specific to like shawls and cows. I think I had the neck prompt. I think I had hands prompt. But this time I thought I would gather those all together and put those into one prompt. So it will be basically anything that's not a sock or a sweater. And then finally, number 20 is another specific project, and that's my Scout shawl, which is a lovely colourwork shawl. It was a project that was picked for me to cast on by one of our lovely community members, Kate. It's a little bit of colourwork, a little bit of intarsia. It's definitely a use your brain project, and I've been itching to get back to that one. So I'm hoping that one might pop up at some point. It's funny, as we go through the year, some prompts pop up multiple times and some never make an appearance. So I'm looking forward to seeing what will be the case for 2025 dice rolls. Kelly came back to me so quickly. It was very much appreciated, Kelly, so thank you so much. And I am super excited to say, I'm trying to wrestle this out of the project bag, that Kelly has picked my 3 seasons pullover. Yay! So this project I started back in last September time, I think, maybe October. It's a pattern by Wool & Pine, and it was a relatively new release when I cast it on, and I just fell in love with the pattern, and so I ordered some yarn for it and cast on straight away. And I managed to get a good way up the back, I think this is. But of course I put it away during Vlogmas and then the 12 cast-ons, and I've been itching to get back to it. If I let you into a little secret, I was determined that I would squeeze this in to my making for March anyway. I was going to try and make it fit to one of the prompts that pops up when I roll the dice. So yeah, I'm super happy that Kelly picked this for me, and then I don't have to go through the challenge of trying to fit this in. Thank you so much to Kelly for picking that project for me. I do remove folks' names after they have been chosen on the wheel, just to give everyone an opportunity to join in if they want to. So that's 2 projects settled on for March already, my cross stitch and my 3 seasons. So I think it is high time to roll the dice and see what other prompts come up for me. Dreams aren't meant to be broken. Okay, the dice have spoken, so let's pick some projects to work on. In no particular order, I'm going to go with number 18 first, and that was Make Along. Now, of course, I've got lots of projects on the go at the moment for my own Make Along, the 12 cast-ons. But I also recently, at the end of January, I joined Kelly from YarnNYarns in her 12 Cozy Toes Make Along. There'll be a new sock pattern available at discount to be worked on during March and April, and that will start from the 1st of March. I'm going to be making at least my first few pairs of socks for the Cozy Toes Make Along. I'm going to be making to donate to the Flower Power Fund, which is a charity drive organised by Sherlock Knits, and each year they try to knit socks that are predominantly yellow to give to folks who are being supported by the Marie Curie hospices. I've got some lovely yellow yarn on the way to me. It's an excuse for me to purchase some yarn because I don't have that much yellow if any, in my stash. I know I've got at least one skein, but that's a skein that was gifted to me by a dear friend, and I want to use that for something for myself. So I've got some yarn on order for my next pair of socks. So that will be what I'll be working on for the make along prompt. Next up, number 2, which is finish it. So the idea behind that obviously is to pick something that's close to the end. For this one, I'm actually going to pick another sweater project. As we go through the year and I finish more of my smaller projects, I've got a lot of sweaters on the needle, so I'm going to end up working on multiple sweaters in the month anyway, so I'm going to have to start getting in the groove of juggling that. So why not start straight away? So the sweater that I have that's closest to being finished is my sea glass tee, which is another pattern by Wool and Pine actually, coincidentally. And I started mine a good couple of years ago now. I think it might have been for 12 cast-ons, 22 maybe. The last time I worked on this was in November. My lovely friend Ruth picked this as my November project, and I haven't done a sort of making roundup since then. I did manage to put a fair few inches onto this sweater. If I flip this round, the fabulous mushroom marker here is where I was when I picked it up, and so I knit through all of that. I think I have got maybe a couple of inches. I'm extending the length of this compared to the recommended guidance in the pattern. I think I've got another inch or 2 to add until I add my ribbing on, and then literally that is it. I may need to do a little bit of finagling with the neckline ribbing. It seems quite baggy, and when I was talking to Ruth, my friend Ruth, when we were away the other weekend, she's knit one of these as well, and she said she's got the same issue with hers as well. So I may just go around, maybe put some crochet stitches or something in the top of that neck just to cinch it in and tighten it up. Hopefully I should be able to get close to finishing this, if not finishing it. Sorry about all the jingling and rattling. I've got my needle holder and a metal stitch marker on the bottom there. Probably what I'll do is work 1 week on the sea glass and then 1 week on the 3 seasons pullover, and just switch them out throughout the month like that. We shall see what happens. Right, okay, so that's 2. The next one is Dust Me Off. That was number 14. And the idea behind that prompt is just to pull out something that's been in hibernation for a little while. So for this, I'm going to go with my Heptagon Time shawl. And again, this was a shawl that I started for 12 cast-ons, probably 2022. And I'm making this entirely from my hand spun yarn. And it's mostly made from textured yarn, some art bats that I spun up. And so I had these sort of singles in my stash, and I'm pairing that with a couple of other yarns that I've hand spun as well. There's some black merino, and there's this really super bright fluorescent. Yeah, this one's been languishing for a while. This is my sort of witch in the woods shawl. I'm affectionately referring to this as. It gives me very witchy vibes, and I can't wait. Can't wait to wear it. Although you could call me a liar given that it's been on the needles for 2 years and I still haven't finished it. That doesn't seem much like I can't wait, does it? But I'm enjoying working on this every time I do pull it out, and it's just really fun to work with these textured yarns just from an art bat, and I just spun them as they came, and I wasn't quite sure what to do with them. They sat in my hand spun stash for a while. I feel like a fun shawl is the perfect project. Finally, prompt number 7 is multicolour. I think when I was chatting through these prompts the other day, I said my sort of vision for this one would be to work on something that's got more than 2 colours, more than 2 yarns in. But I do try to keep my prompts as vague as possible, so as open-ended to interpretation as possible. And given that I've got 2 sweaters and a large-ish shawl to work on, also it looks very likely that I will be spending multiple weekends away in March. I've got 1 weekend booked to go away with some friends, and then I think we're going to be up and down again, offering family support. So I need a couple of smaller projects. I've got my sock, the make along sock to knit. I'm going to kind of stretch the definition of multicolour a little bit. I mean, it's not stretching it, it's just stretching my original intention for that prompt. I'm going to work on my pile of Christmas socks, which was cast on number 1 for this year's 12 cast-ons. All of these are multicoloured yarns, and some of them will actually be using multiple yarns because I'm doing a couple that have got either all over colour work or a portion of colour work around the top of the leg. So I've just grabbed one of the socks that I've been working on and off for the last couple of weeks. This is the Candy Cane colourway, and I'm making a stripe tease sock. So this looks all kind of strange and the yarns are getting all tangled here, there and everywhere, but it's a really fun construction. I made a pair of these for our scrappy make along last year, and so now I'm making a pair for myself. So you cast on for the cuff, you knit 3 strips down the back of the leg, put in the heel, and I'm now working down the sole of the foot. And there's instructions in the pattern for working either a 3-stripe sole or just a 1-panel sole. So I decided to do the 1-panel sole just because it will mean the stripes are mixing and matching in all sorts of different ways in this sock. There'll be the sort of narrow striping of the cuff and the toe, the big sort of colour blocks in the leg, and then the sort of slightly blockier stripes where I'm knitting sort of half rows in these colours. So yeah, they will be the prompt for multicolour. And I've got a couple of vanilla socks in the pile as well, so that will satisfy my need for a little bit of vanilla knitting if I'm ever anywhere, if I'm at appointments or at the movies in March, then some straightforward knitting will be required. So I think that is everything. I think that's some good March making plans there. 2 sweaters, a shawl, 2 pairs or 2 lots of socks, and a little bit of cross stitch as well. So yeah, I think that sets me up nicely. Do let me know in the comments below whether you have any making priorities for the month of March. I know that some of you play along with the prompts that I roll, so if you are playing along with me, let me know what projects you'll be working on for each of the prompts. I would love to hear all about your making plans for the coming week or weeks in the comments below. I will of course be back again soon with some more making content, so I hope you will join me for the next video. Until we do get to spend time together again, I hope you get to do some other things that you enjoy. Great big woolly hugs to you all. Bye for now. Bye.